Yeah, it's one of those things, like, you could literally have fucking 100 people doing all this. Maybe not 100, but still. Camera guy, host themselves, you know what I mean? Just fucking an assistant, I guess. I don't know. Haven't figured that out yet, but at the end of the day, it's like...
Well, I've done, like, BG, like, background stuff for, like,
Yeah.
TV shows and stuff over the years, and it's like...
There's a lot of hands
There's,
on
like,
it.
40 or 50 people who are not on camera.
Yeah.
You know, like, someone's holding the camera, then someone's, like, the guide for the camera, then the director's behind them, like, telling them where to go and all these different things, and then there's, like, an acting coach. There's so many different... There's catering, and it's just, like, you think about, like, the financials behind all of it. All those background actors are getting paid, like, you know, sometimes it's pretty decent wage.
Something decent, like, more than... Definitely more than minimum wage, and at the end of the day...
Yeah. If you're, like a union member and stuff like that, is even more. And you just think about those financials on the grand scheme of it all. And then for us prepping for a record, it's like, all right, well, you pay so much per song to get it produced and recorded and mixed and mastered. Then they want you to spend 3 times the amount of money on promotion, right? So it's like, you look at a record that's supposed to cost 10 grand, it's actually going to cost you 40. And I don't think a lot of musicians go in with that mindset, right?
No,
like,
I don't think many people know that. What were you about to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that I don't think a lot of artists, I was going to say locally, really, like, there's more now, but I feel like not a whole lot of people are willing to take that risk, which is completely understandable because it's a huge chunk of money. But I guess it's like any small business, you know, you have to invest
somewhere. Yeah.
But it's scary, and it is a lot more, I think, than people realize, like, at the forefront.
Well, I remember, my buddies are in the group Neon Dreams, and they got together and then started their own label. And I honestly, I've been very impressed with the way they kind of, like, there's 4 of them, and then they were like, the band structure was changing, but that just turned into a label. And I was like, this is fucking brilliant. Yeah. And I won't say the number, but I remember when they told me how much it costs to promote and shoot their first video/single. And they were like, if we want to, they essentially looked at me and my roommates at the time were like, hey, we're going to have to spend, what do you think of this song? And be honest. And they were like, the most serious I've ever seen voice. They're like, no, be honest, because we don't want to spend this money. Like, we're asking everyone right now. And it's just like, and that's a big thing. Not that you don't want to spend money, but you know what I mean? It's like, we want to make sure that this is the one. This is the one we're investing in. This is the single. We believe it. Does everyone around us believe it? And luckily everyone did, and it worked out good. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I remember when I heard that number, I was like, oh, man. Yeah. Like, my life was literally, like, changed in a way, because I was like, my perspective is different now.
One song for them. Yeah, it's crazy. And I think there's so many people around here that... Yeah, sorry, just to
backtrack, that's one song, as Kirsten said, not an album. Yeah. We're not talking, like Jordan said, it's $40K for one song, not...
Yeah. Right? Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I can't, I mean, it's crazy numbers. And I think there's so many people in Newfoundland, and, like, they're so talented, and they could really do it. I really, really believe they could do it. But I also understand that is just a crazy thing to think about.
Finances are a real barrier to anything. People are like, oh, yeah, I'm an artist. I got my art. Absolutely. And that's their relationship, and I respect. But as far as becoming a professional one goes, there's a barrier to entry, and it's usually finance. Well, talent and then finance. Yeah.
Finance and also, like, time. Like, it does take time. Like, we've been singing now for almost 10 years together. Yeah. And I mean, we haven't always been doing the exact steps we should have. And I think now it's starting to pick up more because we're getting more used to what we should be doing.
Absolutely.
But I mean, even just the time that it takes, like, I think that's also a factor that scares people off, because it's like, people want families, and they want a house, and they want all of these things that, most people do want. Mm-hmm. And so it's so scary. Just, it's an investment of your life. It's an investment of your money. And it's, Yeah.
I've also had a few friends who are like, aren't, say, making money in their desired creative endeavor right now, yet are very passionate, like really on the same level or beyond what we may be, but just like haven't took that step yet. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, I don't want to teach it. And I'm like, I get that, but do you want to sit, and this is not me calling out the people behind the desk or anything like that, but do you want to sit behind a desk, or do you want to teach guitar or dance or whatever, like, and it's like, think about it, every time you get to teach, you get to reiterate your skills, and like, sure, you're just doing the same shit over and over. Jordan can play a fucking C chord, but eventually be deadly, like even deadlier at playing C chords. Like I know it's pretty easy overall,
totally,
and
but it's true, man.
It does just hone your skill. Like the 10,000 hour thing really does apply. I'm sure you guys are past that now, but even still, nothing wrong with 20,000-30,000 hours.
No, exactly.
And this is it, and this is what makes people masters. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like at least you can get paid to teach, and that's not you dancing on the big stage or you guys playing the stages in Nashville or if you will or wherever.
Yeah.
It's not that, but it's still like keeping you going.
It's helping you get there.
Release, right?
Yeah.
And I think I was reading a book that Mallory Johnson shouted out to us, Big Magic. And
shout out Mallory.
Yeah. And basically like the idea behind that book is like, ideas come to you all the time. And it's up to you whether or not you choose to like take them on as an endeavor.
Them,
yeah. And it's like just doing something is better than doing nothing. And it doesn't have to be for professional development. It doesn't have to be from a financial perspective. It's just, I think, setting realistic goals for yourself and, like preparing, like, when we put $30,000 or $40,000 into making a record, it's not saying that we're going to get that money back this year, next year, or 5 years from now. It's the idea that hopefully the next time we release a record, we'll have more funds available to make it even bigger and grow and grow and grow like accordingly. But I think